Hi guys, it's Jess here. Today I'd like to introduce you to my first sculpted doll, Viola, and to show you the process of how I went about sculpting her. It all started out with this drawing right here. And originally she was just going to be a body for one of my faceplates, but in the end I decided that I wanted to sculpt my own faceplate as well. So here's a drawing of the head that I did. And here is my sculpted head. In the end, I didn't stick to any of my drawings 100%, but hopefully seeing some of my sculpting process will still be interesting to you. So let's get started. The first step was to make a 100% scale drawing of the doll on a big sheet of paper. Then I carved out a styrofoam core in shapes that were slightly smaller than the drawing and wrapped that in saran wrap. After that, I covered it in a thin layer of paper clay. Then I did some rough sculpting on top of that in Ladal clay, and also started sculpting some rough ball joints, and ended up with all the pieces that you see here. After I was happy with the rough sculpt, I decided to cut open all of my pieces to remove the styrofoam cores so that everything would be hollow on the inside for elastic later on. This process took quite a long time, longer than I was expecting, just because there were so many layers and I didn't really have the proper tools. But eventually I managed to cut through all of the clay and take out the styrofoam on the inside. So I was left with these two hollow halves that I would later stick back together. Then I just need to repeat the process with the legs so that I have some nice hollow legs to figure out how to work the hip joint and how all of these joints are going to come together. This doll was especially difficult for me because I never owned any dolls with hip joints attached to the torso instead of the leg. So I really had no idea how the joint actually worked beyond just seeing lots of photos. But I was really excited to try this kind of jointing because I think it looks really pretty and I just really love the way the torso looks in the end. So here's an early comparison photo between the body and two of my dolls. It's a minifee moe line on the left and a Unoa on the right. At this point, I had cleaned up some of the jointing a bit so she could stand, but I still wasn't really happy with the shape of the leg. I wanted it a little bit chubbier, and I also decided that I wanted to start sculpting a second bust piece. Here I've done some more work on the bust piece and also reshaped the legs a bit. Here's my first attempt at the large bust piece, and also a shot of her rear end that I really love. After I had refined the sculpture a little bit more and I was happy with it, I started cutting all of the joints out and eventually adding balls to the ends of them so that they would be working ball joints. Here she's standing and the ball joint shape is sculpted in the knee, but the channels haven't been hollowed out yet for the elastic, which will be the next step. This is her first test stringing for her legs. Very rudimentary channels cut out for the elastic. And here's her first test stringing for the arms and upper torso. Here's a close-up of some of the rough sculpting for two of her hands. I sculpted a total of 4 hands, 2 pairs, one with an open palm and the other that were more fist-shaped. This is her first full stringing with the faceplate and the small bust piece. And you can see she can sit, but it wasn't quite what I wanted, so I had to rework her hip joint a little bit more. She has some small locks in the channels for her elastic at the hip, which let her sit more stably, and were also the inspiration for her name Viola. When I did the full stringing with her larger bust, I discovered that it didn't quite look natural. It was sitting a little bit too high up on her chest. So I reworked the bust piece, completely reshaped the breasts, and now I'm a lot happier with the result. After I was happy with the bust pieces, it was time to work on the arms, which were pretty neglected at that point. So here is a very rough time lapse of me working on all the arm jointing and the elbows, and just making everything look a little nicer in the arm area. Even though her legs are single jointed, I definitely wanted to have a double joint at her elbow. Um, and I'm pretty happy with the way that it came out. It still needs a little bit of work just to make the joint go a little bit smoother in its motion and make sure that it stays bent when we need it to. But hopefully, I'll be able to resolve all of that in little finishing touches. Here she is, all strung together with the large bust piece and still the faceplate, because at this point I still hadn't decided to make my own. But you can see some of her posing and just the general shape of her body. And also, I decided to try on those Dalmore pants that I got for the Mokashura doll, and they fit really nicely, so I'm hoping that other Mokashura doll clothes will also fit her. And here is the start of her faceplate that I decided to make. The decision was kind of a last minute one, and it was hard to kind of decide on what kind of face I wanted because she has both this very androgynous, childlike small bust, but also a very voluptuous large bust. So I'm hoping that her face is the right mixture of both characteristics so that it'll work with the right face up for either of the bust pieces. I've also been considering making an add-on optional penis part. I'm not really sure about that though, so I'd only do it if there's enough interest from people. So definitely let me know in the comments if you'd be interested in having one of those option parts. And here she is as she looks today. She's still a work in progress, definitely not finished yet, but I've started the finishing process of spraying her with surfacer, which is the gray that you see. I ran out of surfacer though, so I'm currently waiting to get some more cans of that. So hopefully the next time you see her, hopefully within the next couple of weeks, she will be all one solid gray color and almost complete. A little bit of info on the head. She wears 12mm eyes and a 6 to 7 inch wig, so pretty typical of most slim minis. So I'm just going to leave you with the rest of this video, just kind of showing off how she looks currently, showing a bit of her posing and the details of what she looks like. last shot of her with my other dolls just to show a bit of size comparison. I think she's about the same height as a minifee A-line. I don't own an A-line body anymore, and as you can see, all of my other dolls are currently wearing heels, so the height comparison might not be as accurate as if they were not wearing heels, but it's still a decent comparison just to show the definite difference in body size. I'm so happy with the way that she turned out. She is definitely a curvy alternative to most of today's slim minis, so I'm super happy with her. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks so much to everyone who have liked and commented and subscribed. I've been really busy lately, but I really do appreciate every single one. So if you're interested in making your own dolls, I've posted some links down below to some of the resources that I have found useful in my first attempt at doll sculpting. There are also some really great videos here on YouTube. There's lots of really amazing sculptors putting how-to and tutorial videos out, so definitely check that out. I hope to have part 2 of this sculpting series out soon, with more progress on my doll. My hope is to get enough interest in her to get her professionally casted by a professional company. So I'm hoping to make pre-orders available for her by May 2017. So hopefully I'll be finishing her up soon, and I hope that there's lots of interest. So I'll get more info on that for you soon. Keep an eye out either here on YouTube or on my other social media sites, and hopefully I'll have more updates for you soon. Thanks for watching.